scary.
1981.
Not scary. Not scary. I'm sorry. This is in the. Where did I get 1981 in my head? It says 1993. Oh! Now, how stupid I was at the time. I wrote on here, was in Santa Maria, March 7th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. I didn't put the year down. But, wait, what was oh, I know it was 1981. I remember now. Okay. So I'm going to begin the story. I was working, Papa was working, Angie was 12. Richard and Frank were a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
And my job was very stressful. So there was a 3 or 4 day weekend, I forget, and coming up, and I asked Papa, let's go away and do something just relaxing, and he agreed. And we planned for it to be on this weekend. And I even took off 2 extra days on either side of the weekend, so we'd have more time.
Mm-hmm.
And that got me through a lot of work. I was just waiting to go. And then just before we were gonna go, Papa got an invitation from family, remote family, people he had not seen in 40 years,
Mm-hmm.
50 years, or longer. They were celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to go to he was invited and he wanted to go. And I didn't want to do that. And I was very disappointed. And he decided to go
Mm-hmm.
to Colorado. And I said, well, I'm not staying home. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go drive down to California. We lived in El Granada at the time. We're gonna drive down the coast, and I'm gonna go see my old neighborhood
Mm-hmm.
in East LA, and where I went to high school and everything, and just relax and have a great time. And I was mad at Papa.
Mm-hmm.
And so I set off in my car,
Mm-hmm.
and everything was fine. I have written notes here. I'm going to use them. I wrote these at the time.
What?
My notes that
From the trip?
Primary source.
No, it's very short.
Oh.
Not long, but I'm going to just.
I'm not worried about it being long. I'm just curious as to where this is going.
Yeah.
Now I want to know.
Yes.
Wait, why were there notes being taken?
I'm taking, because everything unfolded was so mysterious.
Mm.
I had to write it down so I wouldn't forget it because it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So, here we go. Here's what I say. My quick little notes. In 1986 or late 85, around there, I had 2 dreams close together.
Mm-hmm.
Not on the same night, not the day, one day after the other, but close. And the dream was very strong in my mind. The dream was in color, and it was vivid, and it was emotional. And in the dream, I was in a grand house. And I'm in a kitchen, and there's a window along the long wall. There were long drapes over some of the windows on the end. Alexa, notification.
One new notification from Amazon. On Monday, there's a chance of rain near you in Picnic Point. Starting around 2 a.m.
Oh my god. Okay.
Sorry, guys. Okay. There were long, dark drapes on the window, and there were like dolls, old dolls,
Mhm.
for like a little girl. Everything was dark furniture, darkly furnished. But what made a big impression on me in my dream was that when you walked in the front door, you turned to the right, you walked through a dining room, and between the dining room and the kitchen was a pocket door. You know what a pocket door is? It opens into the wall.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was brown in my dream. And I thought it was very interesting. Now there's a man and a woman in the kitchen. And she looks like an old-timey lady
Okay.
in a flower dress, something like me today.
Mm-hmm.
But she was younger. She was like in her late 50s. What are you doing?
She's bad with technology.
Don't
Just
do that.
I'm trying to.
don't do that.
You're blinding me.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Turn the flash off.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Yes. So in your
No,
dream,
don't take copies.
can I take a picture?
No, don't.
I can't take a picture?
No.
Okay, I won't.
No.
Okay.
Okay, where were we? She was wearing a flower
So there's
dress.
this frumpy lady in a flower dress.
Uh-huh.
She looked kind of tough, like something out of an old Humphrey Bogart movie.
Mm.
And there was a man, and he's vague in the dream, but he's in brown or something. I could see the windows, I could see the stove and the sink.
Yeah.
And at the far end of the kitchen to the left, there's a door that's opened. And it's dark in the room, but as I look in, I see a grown man in there, kind of lurking in the background. He's unclear. And there's one single bed for one person in the room that I can see. So then I'm in this house,
Yeah.
and I go up the stairs
Okay.
to the second story. I don't see much of the second story in my dream. It's one bedroom I'm in, and I'm looking out of a huge window on the wall, and it's open. And it's looking to the rear of the house. And there's tall, wavy grass, and it's yellow. And it's blowing in a light wind, and it seems like it's sunset. And I think it's summer because the grass is dry.
Yeah.
And there's railroad tracks not far from the house, going right behind the house. And I look to the left, and I see the railroad tracks in the grass. And there, walking down the tracks, is Papa carrying Angie in his arms,
Huh.
and Richard and Frank walking next to him. And I look after them, and they're walking down the tracks. And so I lean out the window, and I yell to them, "Hi," or something. And all three turn around, all four,
Mm.
turn around and look at me at the same time. And I wave, and they all smile and wave back. Then they turn around and continue walking.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, now I'm intrigued.
Okay.
But what were they wearing? Were they also wearing old clothes, or were they wearing like modern, like what they were wearing?
No, they look modern.
They look modern.
They look, but even though they were very young, like Angie looked like
Yeah.
she was 2, and the boys looked 4 or 5. They were really teenagers at this point in
Mhm.
reality. Okay. So, all right. Now that's the dream.
Mm.
Now we're gonna go back to the house. I'm gonna do the rest from memory here. So I'm driving along Highway 1,
Right.
going down the coast. I'm passing Santa Maria. I had read about it before I left my home to think, where do I want to stop on the way? And I was unsure about Santa Maria. But as I got closer, I said, I'm going to skip it because I'm gonna try to get to this other point further south. And I can't remember what that point was, but that was in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm going by the town, I look to the left, and there on a bluff, amid yellow grass,
Yeah.
is this mansion. And the minute I saw it, my heart dropped. Because I went,
Dropped.
I mean, it's like,
Mm.
because I recognized the house,
Mm-hmm.
even though I had never been there before. And I said, oh my gosh, that's the house in my dream.
Mm-hmm.
My dreams, because actually there were two dreams.
Was the second dream different?
Well, I'll tell you about
Oh.
the second dream. But let me finish this part first. So, I forgot where I was.
You saw the house.
Saw the house, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I said, I've got to go see that house. I'm going to go do it. So how do I get across the highway to get over there? So I keep driving and driving, nothing. And I'm determined to go find it, and there's an exit, and I take it, and I get over there.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get over there, this is sort of what the house looked like. It was, you could pet.
Is that actually what it?
When I went by, that was close to what it looked like.
But is that the house? Is what we're
That's the real house.
That is it.
That is the house. And it was being worked on, it was being renovated.
Can I take a picture?
This
See if I
was-
can Google Maps it.
I don't know where I got that picture from, to tell you the truth.
Let me see.
I don't know where I got it from.
It's actually, Shabazz, the house is right on the highway. You can
Yeah,
see it
it's
from-
right on the
I've seen
highway.
the house
Really?
myself,
You
yeah.
could see it off the highway. So,
Huh. Do
there was construction work going on.
Yeah.
Wood, and the ground in front of the house was all torn up dirt, because they were working on it. And no one was there, because it was a holiday weekend. I think everybody was gone.
Mm.
But the front door was open. And I said, I'm gonna go in.
Like it was just swinging, like.
No, it was
Oh,
like,
unlocked.
I can't remember if it was open or the door wasn't on.
Yeah.
Because they're fixing that, putting in windows and
Yeah.
doors, and they're renovating. Can't quite remember that. Let's see what they have here. Can't tell. But there is this huge porch,
Yeah.
huge veranda, as they used to call it.
Yeah.
So I'm all a tingle. I get out of the car, I go up the steps, go in the veranda, looking so excited, and I walk through the front door, and I looked, I said, yes. But before I went through, I was standing on the veranda, and I said, remember your dream before you go in. Establish your dream. Where were the rooms? So when you go in, let's see if it matches.
Yeah.
And I did that. And I walked in, I said, oh my gosh, I've been here. And I turned to the right from the entryway living room. You turn around, you go through the dining room. And there was the wide door into the kitchen. And I looked for the pocket doors because it made a big impression on me in my dream. And there they were, brown still.
Mm.
Walked into the kitchen. In my dream, there was furniture. There was no furniture in the house now. It's empty. They're working on it.
Mm.
And, okay, so this is dream one. The downstairs, the kitchen, the frumpy woman and the man and the stranger in the bedroom.
Yeah.
The second dream is me going upstairs to the bedroom
Oh.
and
Okay.
looking out the window.
Gotcha.
So I walk up the stairs. So that's all there is with the kitchen, or that part of the house. Then I go up the stairs. This is the second dream. I go up the stairs. There's a bedroom right away.
Mm.
Walk in, it's a big bedroom, the big window. and I told you the story about leaning out the window.
Yeah.
And I said, this is the same window.
Mm.
And I look out the back like it was in my dream, but there's no railroad track. But the grass is still yellow.
Yeah.
And I looked down and I said, God, but there's no railroad track. Oh, something important. Well, I can tell you this later. So in my dream, the front of the house had these huge palm trees.
Yeah.
And they were already there while they were working on the house.
Mm.
So I'm coming out of the house and a pickup truck is driving in with one man in it.
Yeah.
And he's driving and he looks like, who's she? What is she doing here?
Yeah.
And I'm coming down the stairs.
Yeah.
And I said, oh my gosh, I could be arrested for
Yeah. Trespassing.
trespassing. Or what?
Wait, was this the important thing, or was there one other thing about the dream?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, there's a lot more of this
Oh,
story.
okay.
It's really weird. So, I figured quickly an attack. Not an attack, but I'll be bold first. Don't look scared. Don't
Yeah.
look like you've done anything wrong.
Yeah.
So the man is out of his car and he's looking at me like this.
Yeah.
And I walk over and I say, oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad are you connected to this
Oh, that's smart because you know about it already.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said, are you connected to this mansion?
Yeah.
And he said, what are you doing here? And I said, I was driving by and I saw this mansion and I recognized it, but I didn't know why.
Mm.
And it was from a dream, but I don't know why it was in my dream. And I started just talking. Well, he listened and he got involved in the story.
Yeah.
So I said, but there's something different about it. I said, first of all, in my dream, the house had railroad tracks behind it.
Yeah.
And this has no railroad tracks. And he says, oh, well, that's because it was relocated recently from the center of Santa Maria. They cut the building in half.
What?
And they moved half of it at a time. And they put it together. And it was right next to the railroad track.
They moved the whole building?
The whole mansion. I have articles. You can read this here.
Okay.
They talk about it. So, and I said, oh. And I said, well, I don't understand. What about these palm trees? Looks like they've been here. Oh, they transferred
What the heck?
these huge palm trees here. I said, you're kidding me. And he said, no. He says, they're gonna make a restaurant out of it.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what he said. And I said, where can I get more information about this house? I want to know why it was in my dream, why I recognize it. I need to find the answer.
Yeah.
And he said, well, you could go to the Historical Society. It's downtown.
Mm.
He gave me the address. It's called the Santa Maria Valley Historical Society.
You have the paper.
I went. So let's see. I'm just trying to see if I wrote anything on here. So he was happy. He didn't challenge me or scare me or anything. He was fine. And I went off now and see my notes. So I go to the Historical Society. Okay, just a minute. I explain the dream. I tell him I know the only difference with railroad tracks and trees. He tells me house was moved from center of town to this side. Trees were also moved. Also tells me the railroad tracks were behind the house. The floor was moved.
Mm.
Tracks are still there, he said.
Mm.
Gives me general area where house stood and street name. I visit tracks in the field. They're all still there, but there's new housing that have been built there since. A new housing development,
Yeah.
abutting up to one side of the tracks. Okay, I go to the Historical Society.
Yeah.
And the woman says, many people stop thinking they know this house.
Wait, what?
She said, many people stop and they all think they know this house. She gives me a Xerox copy with information on the house. But none of this explains why I knew the
Yeah.
house.
But she didn't say why anybody else recognized or nothing that they had said.
No. I tell her or ask her to send me by mail or phone any information she has on the house, and I will pay something to the museum as a contribution. And 4 days after returning home, I received 2 articles from 1981. That's where 1981
Yeah.
was in.
Oh, right.
2 articles from 1981 relating to the house being moved from the old site
To the new.
to the 101 location, Highway 101
Yeah.
location. Also enclosed was the curator's card. I read the article and put it away. Now, so let me see here. So now, I'm gonna stop very quickly. Here's the whole history of the house.
This is what she sent you, or what you had compiled?
No, this she sent me.
Okay.
It's called Architectural Survey. The house is called the New Love House. And it tells who built it, who did it, the whole thing.
Mm.
Okay. This shows where the railroad tracks are,
Okay.
where the house was in downtown. And it talks about the landmarks. And on the back it lists them. Historical park proposal for the New Love Mansion.
Huh.
Now, I have to find that 1981 article because this is where something mysterious happens.
Is it gonna be somebody's name? Like matches?
No,
Oh, okay.
now here's
That would have been like time travel. I
here's
don't
the
know.
house
Gross.
we're renovating.
You
it.
pass it?
Here's the history of the town, Santa Maria. And now I am thinking that there's nothing mystical about this, because I don't think that way normally. There's always a reason for everything, right?
Yeah. Santa Maria Town.
And I felt, since I didn't remember this house as an adult, that could it be possible that I was there as a little girl?
Mm.
So I decided to get in touch with my mother.
Yeah.
And then my mother gave me a whole bunch of information.
Huh.
Well, just things.
So how far was that from where you grew up to, just to give them context since they don't know the area?
I read in one article that it's in Santa Barbara County, but considered sort of the halfway point between
Yeah.
San Francisco and LA.
Mm.
But Santa Barbara is much closer to LA,
Yeah.
so I thought they got that
Santa
wrong.
Barbara and LA.
Yeah,
Between, yeah, I think
maybe
you're right.
Santa Barbara. No,
Between Santa Barbara and LA, right?
no, it's north of Santa Barbara.
Oh, is it? Santa Maria? I
I-
always picture, I
That's-
always think it's
That's
closer
my,
to LA.
okay, I could be wrong. That's my memory.
Okay, I'm just trying to give them context that
Yeah.
it is fairly close to where you grew up. That's all.
I would say 4 hours, 5 hours drive.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm guessing. Okay.
Mm.
So So I'm going to tell you very quickly something. Are you bored?
No. Now
Okay.
we're getting to the mystery.
Okay, so, quick review. My father comes from Norway.
Yeah.
2 times, when he was 8 and then he was 18, he stayed.
You're-
He was a CPA and worked in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
He did something on the stock market and got a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
He moved from New York to California where he met my mother.
Yeah.
He invested in oil wells, thoroughbred horsing, and real estate.
Mm-hmm.
He partnered up with a man named Black
Mm-hmm.
and married my mother here and had my 2 older sisters. Let me see.
You were right, Mom, it's north of Santa Barbara, it's about 2.5 hours from LA. It says.
Okay, I said 3 or 4, but yeah.
No, but you were right, it is north of Santa Barbara.
Okay,
So-
good, that's good to know. So, I had some notes of what my mother told me, I can't find them now. Oh, here's some notes. So my mother told me that my father went into partnership with a lawyer named George E. Black.
George E. Black.
George E. Black, he was also a multimillionaire. My
Mhm.
father wasn't a millionaire. He could have been, I don't know how rich my father was.
Mm.
But George Black was a man with connections, well-known, and lawyer and millionaire.
Mm.
Oh, he was an attorney and an oil man. Okay. He was founder and president of the Mid-Continental Oil and Gas Association.
Huh.
He was director of several banks and corporations, and he was an attorney from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Gotcha.
Father partnered with him. Before California, he was president of Hub Oil Company in Flint Ridge, California. He belonged to the country club.
Mm-hmm.
During past 5 years, he published 4 thoroughbred breeding magazines. He was a horse person.
Yeah.
He was interested in pacers and trotters. This is not important.
No, keep reading.
He was public speaking. He belonged to the National Cosmetics Association.
Huh.
Why? I don't know. All right. So,
Wait, which page did you skip, Alma? The orange one?
no, but I started out by this. This is when I had 2 dreams.
Oh, gotcha.
I
Okay,
did
okay.
this. And that's the same thing. I was writing it more neatly because.
Okay.
Okay, and this, okay. All right, I have to come to this. Okay, now this is an interesting point. When I was at the, so when I got that letter from the Historical Society 4 days after I got back home, she sent me a curator's card, and on the back, she wrote a name and address. It was the name of a woman living in Long Beach
Mm-hmm.
who just a few months earlier had passed by the house, thought she knew it, also stopped at the Historical Society and asked any information regarding the house be mailed to her also.
Whoa, okay.
Just like me. There was no phone number included on the card. Could not locate it through phone company, so I sent a letter
Mm-hmm.
asking her to call Collector Wright. And here's the letter I wrote. Where did I just see that? Do you care?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we want to know what was asked at first, so that we
Okay.
can find out.
All right.
Don't tell me she was George E. Black's daughter or something like that.
Here it is. Her name is Mrs. Williamson.
Okay, Williamson.
And I wrote, Dear Miss Williamson, I'm trying to discover why I have a memory of the True Love House located outside Santa Maria on Highway 101. And talking to the curator at the Santa Maria Museum, she remembered that you had expressed the same interest in the house several months earlier. I asked her if she could put me in touch with you, and she just mailed me your name and address. I tried to find your phone number through information, but we had no person on Lemon Avenue named Williamson. I'm hoping that you enjoy a mystery, and that perhaps by putting our heads together, we can find a common denominator to explain our attraction to this house. Please either call me Colette, and I give my number, or send me your phone number so I can call you. Also give me the best time to call you. Just so you know, I am a 49-year-old housewife with 3 grown children and a wonderful husband who teaches at a nearby community college. We live about 20 miles south of San Francisco, right on the coast, near Half Moon Bay. I would really love to talk with you and sincerely hope you will contact me. If you prefer, we correspond through the mail. That is okay too. I leave my address below, but I believe we can cover more ground on the phone. Even if your experience regarding the house seems to you to be minor, I would still be very interested in hearing from you. And then I signed it. Okay.
Are these all letters now? All of these other notes? Or did she did she call you?
No,
Oh.
but I often thought I was going to go down and look up Williamson on Lemon Street, but I never made it. Okay. Okay.
That was the red herring of our mystery right there. Williamson.
Okay, so here I am. Okay.
The Williamson connection.
Now, I want you to, so I was giving you the history of my father.
Yeah.
So he was partnered with Black. He had money. Black was very rich. And he owned my father owned several oil fields, oil wells on Signal Hill in Los Angeles. And he did not make a wise decision, my father, because he went into a full partnership with Black with no protection, and when Black up and had a sudden heart attack and died at the age of 64, they took all the funds my father had for some reason. My mother never understood it.
Oh, like collected on a debt, like maybe he had an agreement with Black or something like that.
My mother said she often wondered if there was some account with money left in it that belonged to my father.
Somewhere.
Well, I investigated that.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so in the meantime, I called my mother.
Yeah.
Told her about this and said, Mom, what do you think? And she said, well, you know, okay, this I have to tell you. Okay, so I have to go back to this. Okay, so here's the thing. So, before my dad lost all his money, he was moving in these circles.
Yeah.
With famous movie stars, the wealthy, rich people. My mother said, well, Chris and Pat were very little.
Yeah.
My 2 older sisters. They lived in this beautiful house, and they had a picture of it. I saw it in the family album, where they used to live. It was really nice, but he lost that. He wound up with nothing. And went to work for the Los Angeles County as an assessor.
Yeah.
And, okay. But my mother said that while my dad had money, he dabbled in horses.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
You mentioned the horses before. I thought he
So,
was the
this
gambling
was-
on them, right?
This was sent to me.
Mm.
And in here, if you look, his name is here. Wait, where is it?
July 1941.
Yes. I was born in 43.
Mm.
So, let's see, where's his name? Here it is. Business manager Arthur Dahl.
Huh.
He wrote an article in here.
Of which can I see him?
Yes, let me find which article he wrote. Here's contents. Here it is, Arthur Dahl, page 10. California Breeders' Summer Sale.
be very careful.
Yes. So he was, and my father was going to
Mm-hmm.
the races. Now, we often thought, before I knew any of this,
Yeah.
we couldn't
Arthur
figure
Dahl.
out why my father, who had a good job as an assessor, why he never had money. We think he gambled it away at the racetrack.
Yeah.
And you have a memory, actually, too, of going.
He took
I
me.
mean, you were sick.
When I was 10 years old, I was homesick from school. And he was gonna go to work, and he would travel in his car and go assess property. And so he took me with him, but we didn't go to assess property. He took me to the racetrack. He knew everybody. He was shaking
He
hands,
knew all of them.
introducing me as
Yeah.
his daughter, and I was like, what world is this?
Yeah.
So my mother told me at this time that she thinks he gambled and went out and had great meals at restaurants
Really?
and with his friends. And
Like keeping up his old lifestyle, kind of,
well,
or
He
just
couldn't
blowing.
That
He
he
wasn't-
did all this outside of the house.
Oh,
not
I
at
see.
home.
yeah, and,
I
and,
see.
and,
Never
and
got
at
home.
home
Yeah.
we didn't have sometimes enough food to see us to the end of the month.
Mm.
Now Laurel married my sister Laurel married Bob,
Mm.
and he knew our family very well. And his father had a job and made about the same money that my father made.
Yeah.
And Bob would tell us all the time, I don't understand it. You know, my father, we moved from this house to a better house. We took long vacations every summer.
Yeah.
We ate well, we did this. Why wasn't it your family like that? So
They went to like grammar school and high
Well,
school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Laurel knew her husband since.
So same
Oh.
neighborhood, same everything. It wasn't like they were in
Yeah.
different,
It was like literally like.
like one
Yeah.
for one.
I
They
see.
lived a few blocks
Yeah.
from.
Gotcha.
I mean, like
I mean,
mom was
Laurel-
friends with his sister.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, but here's the other thing, Ma, is, it's possible that he gambled the money from the business away too, after Black.
Could be.
That's a possibility.
Or he had debts he had to pay
Or
off.
gambling debt,
So
and he used the
that's-
business money to pay the
That's what I
debts.
was
Yeah.
saying is they wouldn't take the
Yeah.
money unless a debt was owed, and the only
Yeah.
reason they wouldn't collect before this Black died is if he had a personal agreement with him, right? To
Yeah.
not collect, because that's the only reason someone wouldn't
Yeah.
collect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, moving along.
Mm.
Now, where, okay, sorry, you're gonna get to that part.
Now,
I
at the
won't
same
ask you.
time, is it here or another piece of paper? They show mansions for sale with this magazine where, and they show my father's name on there. He's
Really?
the person. See, Arthur Dahl. This is Country Gentleman's Estate. Now, $250,000 back in 1941
Was a lot of money.
was $2 million.
Yeah.
These are some, oops.
Let me get my glasses.
Here's,
You think he was like a
These are all Arthur also.
You think it was legit, or you think he was like a con
No,
man?
no, this is for real. So think
Can I see?
about it. So my mother, now think,
he was selling it.
yeah, he was
The owner.
No, he
No,
wasn't
he's-
the owner.
He was the
person-
agent.
The
the
agent.
agent.
Mount Shasta.
Yeah, so,
So where they get the Shasta?
Oh, wait a minute. Well-known, okay, sportsman, track builder, and operator. So he was doing this through the Institute of
Huh.
the Thoroughbred Breeding, probably. He wasn't a. See, it says here.
Can I
for
see?
ranges, see property. It's a ranch.
But he was the
It says
property
it's either-
manager.
Or Wright Institute of Thoroughbred Breeding.
So he did this through his job,
so, my mother told
or is that
me.
his qualification?
So what is the name of that Redwood
Sounds like
City?
it's through his job.
Okay, my mother told me that your dad had to make trips from time to time to Redwood City, California, up from Los Angeles. Redwood City is just south of San Francisco. Did you know that?
Yes,
Are
I
you
knew-
familiar with that area?
I knew that. It was
So, and in those days, it was famous for horses.
yeah.
I don't know if it still is today. So, okay. So,
San Francisco.
this mansion,
Yeah.
1941,
41.
so 40, 43, 45. So anyway, this is my mother's hypothesis. Chris and Pat would have been in school, they were older.
Yeah.
I was too young, I was 4. I was too young for kindergarten.
Mm.
My mother was having my younger sister Laurel
Yeah.
in the hospital, and in those days you stayed in the hospital from 5 to 10 days
Mm.
after you gave birth. And my dad had to take care of me, and he took me on a business trip with him to the mansion,
mansion.
which was probably up for sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or he was trying to get the business or do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And I went as a 4-year-old
Yeah.
because that's when my mother would have had Laurel.
Mm.
You were young.
And the house made an impression on me.
Yeah.
And that's why you remember the people inside looking at all the rooms because he was trying to
He
sell
was
it.
probably looking at all the assessing
Yeah,
it,
assessing
looking
it.
or maybe he was looking at all. Maybe it was even an assessing.
That's what
job,
I'm saying.
actually.
Yeah.
Could have
He
been.
might have been looking at all the rooms, getting the assessment.
Could be.
That could be. Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
no. He was an assessor in Los Angeles County.
Oh, and this was a different.
But that's
This
what.
is-
Yeah. But if you're buying and selling properties, you need the same skills.
Yeah.
You have to go and look and evaluate the house.
Yeah.
It looks like
Yeah.
he was doing that on behalf of this
Yeah.
institute.
Okay,
So
now-
maybe he was
now-
doing that
What
on
the-
behalf of the institute, buying and selling.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's the same.
Like
sales.
he was managing their investments because you said he was a CPA, right?
Right.
In New York, then
Yeah.
then he was probably managing their investments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
Does it say his title anywhere? Could we like find it? Or we don't know. Just he was in association with them to some degree.
I don't know.
Mm.
But anyway, so
Yeah.
my mom also said that she always had a feeling that something might be owing to us from my father's old partnership with Black. That was never settled. She said a few short years ago she started to investigate and got as far as getting a number from the state of California.
Huh.
But then she never followed through with it. I told her I would see if I could. She
Do you
encouraged
know the
me.
name of the business?
You mean the law firm that?
No, the business that they were in together.
Oh, it was just probably a business partner, I don't know. It's probably a limited,
Liability.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but do you know the name of the business?
No.
I mean, if it was a limited liability, they would not have been able to collect that.
that's true.
So it wasn't a limited liability.
Or it could just be,
Could have just been a handshake kind of a deal.
it also could have been, you know, like you guys were saying, that he owed money and paid.
Yeah.
And Black was the personal guarantee.
Yes.
Yeah. Then what do you do?
So,
But she got a number from the state of California, like a phone number or like a number of money. Like
okay,
a
so
phone
Dad and Black were in partnership.
Yeah.
In 1937, 1938, and 1939. That's the same period of time when he owned the oil wells on Signal Hill. Mom, what was Dad's sister's name? Okay, that's another one. father's sister, tutors, okay. All right. Okay,
Are these ones for the story armor?
okay, I looked it up.
Yeah.
I followed through, here it is. So I got the number my mother gave me, it's called Unclaimed Properties.
Yeah.
I got all the information.
Mm-hmm.
I called the State Controller's Office, Unclaimed Accounts in Sacramento,
Yeah.
to see if there were any unsettled inheritance claims for Arthur Allen Dahl or George E. Black, and we're told there were none,
Mm-hmm.
and that there was nothing else they could do.
Gotcha.
Okay, so one last thing.
I actually know someone who, he started a business to look up all the unclaimed money, and then he contacts the
And
relatives
takes a
and
percent.
takes a percentage.
Yeah.
What percent?
I don't know, I can't remember.
That's a
fair.
good business.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he has a whole algorithm, he wrote a program.
Like he collects it from public data?
But he said sometimes you gotta go there and you gotta go like to the courthouses or whatever to figure things out.
Can you ask him? Should we
You
see?
know who, he's on the Redmond City Council. It's
Okay.
Dave Carson.
Dave
Now-
Carson? What's his business?
I don't know what else he does, but I had to drive down to Portland with him one time to look at a building with a bunch of people in a bus, and I sat next to him. He was telling me all about this. I was like, I don't know if he was launching it or if he actually was doing it.
I see.
But if I see him again, I could
Ask him. That's crazy.
okay, now I have one last final thing here.
Yeah.
Gosh. So disorganized.
This is pretty organized. I don't know if this, like I don't have any. I don't think I'd be able to keep this kind of records for a story like this. This is impressive. You have the newspaper clippings. You have articles from. You have the magazine from 1941. Where did you get the horse magazine from?
You know, I think I got it from Laurel, actually.
Mm.
I think she got it as a memento and didn't care, it meant nothing to her. She said you could have it if you want.
Mm.
I said, yeah, I'll take it. And let's go for,
So,
does anybody have an outstanding anything
No.
related to this? Okay. I'm looking for, has to be here.
so it's very possible that you did,
Visit the house.
visit that house and
Yes,
go walk around inside
I'm
it.
sure I did.
That's probably, and what's interesting too is you have the dream, and then, but you did feel antsy and you knew you wanted to go back to your old neighborhood, so you sort of led yourself there without really knowing it.
Could be, well, how could I would be so little at 4.
But you have the dream,
Oh,
and then you're like antsy to go visit your old haunts and everything. You never, I mean, the brain is a weird, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's part chance, but it's also part, you have the dream in a very short order. You were like, I wanna go back and see where I grew up. I'm gonna take this road trip.
yeah.
I mean, it's just interesting, you know, the timing, you might have done that 10 years later, or you might never have done it.
Yeah.
Or maybe you were thinking of a trip and that's why you had the dream. It's hard to know.
It's hard to
Yeah.
know.
Mm.
Yeah. But it is really interesting.
Yeah,
Is
maybe,
Very interesting.
Is the-
maybe I passed it and it triggered.
Is the mansion still there? Still there?
I just read up on it right now,
Oh,
and you know who owns it
Who?
now?
George E. Black Jr. know.
I know. The Firestone family.
Huh.
They renovated it. They made it. They're a San Francisco family. I don't know if you guys know
I didn't
this.
know that.
They
Like
are.
Firestone, like the tires.
Yes.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
And there's like what's fascinating is they had Mom, you might be interested in this. They had a reality show about 8 years ago, maybe,
Yeah,
where they were all out on the ranch, and I think maybe that's where they had filmed some of the scenes because they have a vineyard.
You're kidding
They
me.
turned it into a vineyard. That's what I just
by
read
the
online.
house.
They made it their family home, and they had,
Wow.
I mean, their family home outside of San Francisco, I guess.
Yeah.
And they turned it into a vineyard. And they have, actually that show was all about their Firestone, brand of wine.
So it's not a restaurant.
It's owned by the Firestone family.
I didn't know that.
You could find it online. Let me see what the name of it, because you might be able to see scenes of the house, actually. Because I remember they had a reality